welcome to another hardware asset management process vlog. I'm Kylie Fowler and this is Rory from
Hi Kylie.
Charter.
Hello.
So today we are talking about the hardware support and maintenance process.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
So you know what? We're moving away from end user equipment, and this one is mainly focused on infrastructure equipment, so routers and servers and things like that. And it's also about how quickly the equipment can be repaired if it goes wrong, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember in a former life before I actually delved into SAM, I was working at Compact, actually,
Right.
back in the day. Ooh, go Compact. And they had categorised their level of hardware support and maintenance, and it was based on response times essentially. So the purchaser of the equipment had that option to choose whether they had 1 hour call out, 2 hour, 4, 8, I think, or 24. It was graduated over that, and I think it's just a case of making sure that whatever assignment of support and maintenance you apply to your hardware is appropriate for the business criticality to the task it's being asked to complete.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one process where a CMDB, a true CMDB, where you're really understanding the relationship of physical hardware or configuration items to the IT services that it is providing is really important, because to just have a blanket standard level of SLAs across all of your equipment of a particular type is probably not a particularly useful way of spending your money.
No.
You know, your production equipment needs a higher SLA, but your development equipment needs a lower SLA, and your DR equipment will need a different SLA, you know, maybe a bespoke SLA to make sure that, you know, when you really need it, it's available, that sort of thing. And all of that usage information should really be in your CMDB. Yeah, rather than your asset register.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So when you're purchasing equipment, think about, does it need support and maintenance? And you probably have some sort of policy in your organisation that says, you know, our routers are going to have this level of support, and servers this level of support, and then other things might have combined hardware and software support, you know, things like your proxy servers and stuff. I don't know, I'm not technical enough, but you know, it can, particularly on the infrastructure side, you can actually have combined hardware and software support and maintenance as well. Yeah. So the other thing about support and maintenance is that it's good to co-terminate things.
If you can, yes.
Yeah. So when you buy stuff, often what will happen is that there'll be a year's support and maintenance on the physical piece of equipment, but actually ask to co-term that. And then once you know what you're supporting, how it's being supported, etc., what you can actually do is go out to market. So there's actually a market for hardware support and maintenance, unlike software asset management support and maintenance, where the market is much newer. Yeah,
it's not as mature, shall we say. I think that would be a fair assessment.
Exactly. I mean, historically in software, most support and maintenance is being provided by the software publisher. Well, in hardware, there's an absolute market where you go out, you say, right, I've got all of these bits of equipment, these are the SLAs we need on them, give us your price, do an RFP, and start driving those prices down. So it's a really good way of saving.
Fair enough.
Saving money.
What's the just as a side question, what's the spending curve like on support and maintenance for hardware? Because I can imagine it's a new sale, so it'll be quite high, and then as the equipment sort of ages and goes down, there's a potential for it to sort of go down in the curve and then swing up again.
Absolutely.
Because the equipment is possibly reaching end of life, or what is it, built-in obsolescence, as they refer to it in some areas of journalism.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point, because there comes a point when in the hardware life cycle that it becomes cost effective to dispose of the equipment, because it allows you to save on the support and maintenance, and also it reduces your downtime and all those other impacts on your IT operations. So if you have a well structured hardware asset management life cycle process, then you'll be able to calculate where that is for each individual piece of equipment and start making decisions about that feed back into the support and maintenance renewals and things like that.
Yeah, or indeed the next purchase of hardware then at that point. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any horror stories around support and maintenance, except for all those companies that just have a spreadsheet and it's just a complete chaos.
Yeah.
There's so many of those out there. But you know what? What you do is you make sure that you know what equipment is out there. Look at AD, pull out all your purchase records, talk to your networking team, talk to your infrastructure teams, bring it all together with all the serial numbers and stuff, and go to market. Don't bother trying to sort the mess out yourself.
Yeah.
Again, go to market, do an RFP. It's quite a competitive industry out there.
Yeah. And that's, as a sidebar, that's increasingly happening in SAM now as well. So you'll possibly have a great deal of leverage or engagement in your critical vendors, but the tail of your sort of software installation reports you're not so bothered about, so that tends to get kicked over to a reseller to sort of manage then, or become the central point of purchase, so at least then everything is funneled, and because it's so low priority,
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, right, that's support and maintenance. It's really not that difficult either, is it?
There we go, it's all easy.